Hi everyone, welcome to week 6 of your medical insurance for pharmacy technicians course. This week we are covering chapter 4, and chapter 4 is all about Medicare. There's a lot of different topics that we're going to be covering. Those are listed in the first couple of slides of this PowerPoint. It'll go over those learning outcomes, as well as 3 different slides that go over some of the key terms. So as you are preparing this week, make sure that you look over those first 5 slides of the learning outcomes as well as these key terms so that you become familiar with them. If there's anything in these terms that you don't know, don't understand, that's the time to go back over and look through the book, look through this PowerPoint, and see if you can come up with the answers to your questions before reaching out to me. So first of all, let's just take a quick look at Medicare. What is Medicare? Medicare is a federal health insurance program, and it's for people who are 65 and older. Now, it also does provide benefits to people that are under age 65, but only if they fall into specific categories. So they have to have some sort of a disability, end-stage renal disease, something like that. So if they fall into one of those other buckets, they would be covered under Medicare as well. Any person that's covered by Medicare is what we call a Medicare beneficiary. And then we have Medicare administrative contractors who actually process claims for the government. So in order to be able to receive benefits, you have to fall into one of these particular buckets. So the one we think of most frequently is the ones where they're age 65 or older. Then there's also those that are disabled adults, individuals who may have been disabled before age 18, spouses of entitled individuals, retired federal employees enrolled in the civil service retirement system, and individuals with end-stage renal disease. So those are the 6 basic buckets for Medicare. Now, Medicare actually has 4 parts to it, and so we're going to look at all 4 of those parts and the similarities and differences. So let's just take a brief look at each of those. So first is a Medicare Part A. Part A is typically for inpatient services. So when we think of inpatient hospital services, that's where Medicare Part A comes into account. Now, if you are enrolled in Social Security, if you're eligible for Social Security, I should say, you're automatically enrolled in Medicare Part A. Now, Medicare Part B is for outpatient services. So things like doctor's visits, outpatient hospital services, durable medical equipment, that's things like, maybe like, a walker or something like that. That would be Medicare Part B. Now, if you are eligible for Part A, you can enroll in Part B, but you do have to pay monthly premiums for Medicare Part B. Here's just a few more things that Medicare Part B typically covers. Laboratory services, home health care, blood work, things like that. There's also some preventative care covered under Part B, so physicals and things like that, screenings, vaccinations, all of those types of things are covered under Medicare Part B. Now, Part C is someone who is for people who are eligible for Part A and already enrolled in Part B. So they have to have both. And then they can be in Part C. So it's basically what used to be called the Medicare Choice plan. And then Medicare Part D is the prescription drug piece of it. So this is the piece that you'll be most likely to have contact with working in a pharmacy. So this is Medicare prescription drug plans that are covered under this particular under the Medicare umbrella, I should say. Now we're going to go on and look at does the Medicare insurance card look like. It's going to typically include the enrollee's name, their sex, their Medicare number, and their effective dates for these different types of coverage. So it's very important that you pay attention to those, because whether or not they are eligible is going to make a difference on whether or not they're able to get benefits, obviously. So as you're going through and looking at this, you're going to look at some of the things like, how do you know which one pays first? What if they have both Medicare and Medicaid? What if they have some private insurance? How does that all work? So all of those things are going to be covered in the remaining part of this chapter. And as you're going through this material, if you have any problems or questions, please make sure that you reach out to me, and have a great week.